Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Developer DeFi Kingdoms AMA. We are going to jump straight in to letting Dreamer talk because he is going to have to run shortly, but he has a really exciting event tomorrow, and he's going to tell us a little bit about it.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. You sound good.
All right. This StreamYard thing is cool. Yeah, so I am down here in Mexico City, and I've been here for a couple days now. Very, very high altitude, 2,000 feet above Denver. So luckily enough, I got here a few days early, and I've been trying to figure out how to breathe. But tomorrow I will be breathing in a pit of violence, and on that pit you will see DeFi Kingdoms logo, which is pretty cool on a stream that gets millions of views and distribution through channels and everything. So pretty big deal. I actually just got out of a room. If you follow combat sports and know who Bass Rutten is, he now knows all about DeFi Kingdoms. The way this is set up, the partners at Karate Combat, there's kind of the combat sports side, and then there's the crypto side. And some of us might have seen Only LARPing. He's incredible, pushing utility with karate token and everything. And then on the other side, there's like this big promotion that's competing with some of the biggest fight promotions out there. They just asked us to consult with them for like over an hour on the potential of blockchain and everything. Their president was there. We talked about the existing partnership with DeFi Kingdoms and what we might be able to do past that, and just the potential of blockchain. So that was really cool to participate in. Surprisingly enough, I've had some pretty awesome business development opportunities come up here. Things that I've never even thought of doing that I can't even probably talk about here because I haven't even shared it with the team. But aside from that, tomorrow, going to be going head to head with Phil. And this might seem like an exhibition or something light, but guys, this is serious. I got my equipment fitted yesterday, and I feel kind of like bait and switched a little bit. The gloves, which if you follow combat sports, sparring size gloves, the big ones that people put on to not hurt each other, they're 16 ounces. Sometimes people train in like 12 ounces. UFC uses like 4-ounce gloves, I believe. Four. And these were supposed to be like 4 to 6. So they sent me the gloves. They just changed their gloves. They're like 2-ounce gloves. They're like a little paper towel on your hands. It's gonna be like bare knuckle boxing, I swear. So anyway, it's gonna get real. It's gonna be cool. Heading over to the pit to do some face-offs that will likely hit socials and everything. So if you're interested or want to support, please do. Grady's there as well. We're getting a lot of excitement. A lot of the pro fighters are getting exposed to crypto, DeFi Kingdoms, and everything as well. So hopefully people see the value of why we're doing this. The goal here is additional exposure to continue to expand our professional network, to expand our awareness. If I go out there and I really aim to end the fight in spectacular fashion, and we get people making videos on it and retweeting it, all of that is going to be Dreamer, this like crypto guy that from this video game project did XYZ. So let's hope for a knockout. Let's hope for something big. Let's hope for some exposure, if not for the fun and for the fight game, especially for us, because that's why I'm doing this. I'm doing this for DeFi Kingdoms. I'm doing this for us and trying to make it worth it from all corners. So there is a watch party tomorrow in Discord, I believe. It was kind of a fun surprise to see a little pixelated Dreamer and Grady put together by Second Best Dad and Pieface. That was really awesome. If you want to join the fight party, whether you like combat sports or not, I'd appreciate the support. And it is a support for a marketing effort of DeFi Kingdoms as well. So that's a little summary. Any questions that I should cover or things Bull on related to that?
What time?
What time? Well, I think the event itself will like the main card starts at like I think 7 or something. And that's where the main Karate Combat card goes before ours. The after card, the IFC card, I believe starts at 9 9:30 and goes till like 10:30. But you actually have the the timelines. Can you help me?
Yeah, I do. It was a trap, but yes. So main card starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, um, and I believe it is 9:30 p.m. Eastern for the IFC start. We will be doing the watch party the whole time. We will not be streaming it in Discord because copyright, but we'll all be hanging out and chatting and talking smack and having fun. So feel free to join us there. We can use the Garden's voice channel as well as one of the regular text channels, and should have a good time. I'm excited to watch.
Nice. Um, and yeah, the times don't rely too much on that because with these kind of things, if you have a lot of fights before our fights, which we have a whole entire event before our event, let's say they get finished early, the card goes faster. Let's say the way they plan the time, they expected them to go all rounds, and then there's an additional round because the way Karate Combat does it is after the allotted rounds, if there's not enough for a decision, they throw another one in there. They go to a sudden death. That could happen to me too. There's only two-minute rounds. It's going to be a knockout sprint. And if that doesn't happen and the judges don't feel like they know who won, there'll be a third round. So there might be some variability with that time. So I would just be a little bit flexible with that. Could be earlier, could be later. That's kind of how it goes.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, super excited for that. Shout out to Karate Combat. Also, if you were a winner in the drawing for karate tokens from the Champion Gi, those have been distributed. So if you were a winner and you have not gotten them, please reach out to me and let me know. We'll get it squared away. But they have been sent out, so you should be able to use them for this Karate Combat event.
Yeah, and the voting, the snapshot happened, I think, on Wednesday. So any tokens transferred or purchased after the snapshot, kind of like the jeweler, if we were to do a vote and you wanted to go buy some jewel and stake it to participate in the vote after the snapshot, it's not really applicable. But I believe most, if not all of those, were in before snapshot and should be usable to vote. So you can go in the app. I'm in there, Grady's in there, Ben Armstrong's in there, Crypto Crow's in there, and then all their pro fighters are in there as well. You know, pick and choose, no downside. They have emissions that come out. They're a predetermined amount of emissions, and depending on your picks, your winning and how much you put in relative to others gets you access to that newly minted karate. So it's a pretty cool system. If you have some karate there, go vote it and then see if you can win some more. So with that, guys, I'm gonna drop. We're actually heading out. I didn't want to miss an AMA if I had the chance. And I had a little pocket. Thank you so much for letting me join, and I'm excited to see what happens and do my best to fight for everybody here. And we'll lay it all out there. And no matter what happens, this is for marketing. This is for exposure. This is for experience, and we're winners no matter what. But I'm going for the knockout. So will do my best to make it happen.
Appreciate you, Dreamer. Thank you for swinging through on a short notice, and make sure you punch Phil in the face for us.
You got it. All right, bullish.
All right, all right. Moving right along, we do have a couple other updates we're going to knock out real quick, but since we had a couple minutes of Dreamer's time, we wanted to highlight that because it's super exciting. The other thing that I think many of you are anxiously awaiting for is Hubert Cummerdale. Anything you want to talk about with last week's dev demo and where things are at with the new hunt?
Absolutely. Hey guys, so hopefully many of you were able to tune in last week. We went over our new hunt, the Bad Motherclucker hunt. And I'll just say, we were hoping to get it out this week, but we did run into some bugs that we needed to squish before we were going to feel comfortable releasing that. And those have been squished, and now we're testing to make sure that they're all the way squished. So we're currently targeting next week for the release of that. But just going to caveat that if we do run into anything else that we think is going to be an issue at launch, we're going to delay until that is ready. But things are looking really good at the moment. There's a whole bunch that went into this design. We're adding a ton of new features. We have the time bar. We have the introduction of bring your own potion. We have a bunch of new equipment that's going to be dropping, and most of those are, well, actually, I think all. I mean, well, there's a few that are the same type of things that exist right now, but the majority of them are things that don't exist. So all of that required testing, making sure we have things set up in our system to be able to properly display that and to use them appropriately. So there's a lot there. We added delay mechanics to the system, as well as confuse and blind and fear. So there's quite a few additional mechanics there that that required us to implement. And as kind of we mentioned in our last during the tech demo, like having these things ready and built makes it so that when we get to our next classes and whatnot, it's easier to implement them, because we just point to the thing that we already built and just said this does that, instead of having to help build the whole thing and test it and all that. So yeah, I mean, in these early stages of development on the combat engine, it's just I recognize that it does take us a good chunk of time to get things done, but I hope you guys will appreciate the amount of effort that has gone into this. It's been a huge effort from all of the devs, and everybody here. We've all really come together, and it's from, at least in the behind the scenes, it's been a really great experience. I really love working on this project and working with everybody here. And yeah, I guess with all that said, I do want to just warn you guys, like really want to make you guys understand, like in my mind, the boar hunt is easy. This fight is hard. It's very, very hard. We intentionally made it much harder than the last hunt, with the thought in mind that if you will, I don't know if anyone's going to be able to beat it without potions. I'm sure someone will prove me that they can, but like that the potions are going to be necessary. That generally, if you're going in with heroes with no equipment, those heroes better be like very good, like very well tuned stats, higher rarity, high HP and MP values, or you go in with equipment. So this is also just trying to make sure that equipment feels like it has value, that it's going to help you be able to win. And so I guess just I expect there will be many heroes murdered by these bad Mothercluckers, and it's going to be a fun time. Like that initial launch period, I expect a lot of frustration. I expect a lot of happy tears from the people that finally get through it. But that's the kind of experience that we're going for with this. So just want to make sure you guys are all have been warned. And along with this, we have a bunch of incentives that are going to kind of come out at the same time. We have our sponsored clay raffle that's going to be rewarding about $2,000 worth of clay at the current prices per day. And then there will be, I think we can say it now. I think I feel comfortable saying it. There will be 3 winners per day of that, in addition to our crystal raffle as well. So there will be a total of 4 potential winners per day from that system. And hunts, each hunt win counts, and not just the bad Motherclucker, but also the boar hunt fight too. So if your team is not quite ready to handle the new fight, you can still have a chance to win if you do the old fight too. But you can also use that, doing one fight doesn't preclude you from being able to do the other one. So you could get twice as many entries if you have a good team and can pull off winning with both, or winning on both. So and there may be a few other things that we do as well to help kind of just build up that excitement and get you guys feeling like you want to come and do this fight, even though it's going to be really hard. So I have more to say about that, but before I keep going, is anyone else want to say anything?
Yeah, I'm here to say, heed the warnings of the Hubert. This is he is not exaggerating. If you've been waiting to level up your heroes, now is the time. If you've been waiting to pull the trigger on whatever weapon you've been eyeing, now is the time. Heroes are going to get their butts whooped. I alluded to this long ago when this process started, that that win rate really might be like 5%. So collectively gird your loins in battle, but be prepared to lose, but get good. And eventually, when you beat the bad Mothercluckers, it's going to be significantly more worth it and a lot of fun.
Real quick, as a reminder, if you did miss the dev demo that we did last week, it is on YouTube. So make sure you go check that out. It's definitely worth the watch. You see what's coming up and get some insight on it. And as Hubert mentioned, each one can be beaten. Each hunt can be beaten by the same heroes each day. So you will be able to use the same teams in both hunts if you so choose.
Alrighty. Yep. So you've been warned. I'm really excited to seeing all the buzz in the chat. I'm going to be chuckling as everyone is dying and stuff. But you know, we didn't make it impossible. It's definitely winnable. But it's not. I expect it will be very few. There will be very few people that are able to beat it on their first try. It's possible. I think even I need to double check and make sure there wasn't any cheating involved. But I believe even our own Cabby beat it on her first try, according to SBD. But I have to watch that replay because I'm surprised and not to call you out, Cabby, if you're listening, but I'm sure you're doing a great job on that fight. But that's really I didn't beat on my first try, and I guess I haven't I haven't actually been able to beat it myself with any heroes that don't have at least one piece of equipment attached. But yeah, I mean, it is also, there's, with these fights, things kind of happen randomly. There's chances for things to happen. So I could have just been getting unlucky and stuff too. So anyway, so yeah, there's that. I did also kind of want to talk to you guys about, the future, where we're going beyond this, because I know some people are probably going to be like, oh, it's just, you're making it even harder. This is, for some people, it may be too hard. We recognize that the part of their development process and kind of at least my rationale for wanting us to go down this route of doing hard fights first was to allow us to really stress test the combat engine as we're building it, to make sure we have it in a state where we can make really challenging fights that don't necessarily feel broken, but that there's a path to victory. Because if we did just really easy fights, we don't really get to see those extremes within the system. So this has been very helpful, at least from a development standpoint, to be able to get things into a good state. But now I'm feeling like, I think we're landing in the right spot with how we got our numbers all set up, how we're doing our various skills and status effects and weapons and everything else, like where we've changed quite a few things, even just in this past week we added a few things to kind of address some power creep issues that we were noticing with some of the weapons, and I really happy with how that has turned out. And I think it just makes us better developers for the game, for the future too, to make sure that where things come out more balanced and more complete earlier. So with all that said, we moving forward, the next hunt is not going to come out before we have some other combat features ready. We have we're currently working on what we've been terming as scrub fights, just like killing weaker enemies and maybe having more of them. That's not what the fight is. That's not what that system is going to actually be called when it comes out, but it's just our internal term for it right now. And Workhorse has been in the background, just coming up with all sorts of various monsters and things that people will be able to fight, and we'll have a lot more details about what that is going to look like and how that will be implemented in the system. But it's going to be a very large part of the gameplay. I think compared to hunts, actually, like I think that probably 80% of combat will end up being people doing those rather than doing hunts. Though the hunts will be where people can go to really have that challenge and be able to get like very good equipment and have access to better loot in general, I guess, than what you're going to be able to get from these easier fights. But I don't know, Workhorse, was there anything that you wanted to add before I keep going?
Yeah, yeah. So Hubert's vision for this is great. I don't know how much, Hubert, you shared about what it's going to be like.
What I just said.
Okay, okay, all right. Then I will not say anything more than that. Other than I hope you guys like monsters. There's a lot of monsters coming. They're going to be cool. They're going to be much easier to beat in a way, but it's going to be significantly more content as it rolls out. And to Hubert's point of like launching more difficult, more complicated, tougher fights out of the gates, it really set us up for success with building what we're calling scrub fights. So I'm excited for you guys to get these in your hands. It's still a bit down the line. Obviously, we have to launch a Void Hunt next week. So after that, but I'm excited for you guys to do it because it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I guess just a few things I will say about it is, this isn't going to have level scaling monsters in it. They will be more like what you expect from your traditional RPG, or I guess maybe JRPG is the term I should use, where you go to an area and you fight. You kind of know what you're going to expect. The enemies you fight are like level 3 or 5 or something like that, and they don't get stronger because you're stronger. They're just their strength. If you go in with lower level heroes, you'll have a little bit harder of a challenge. But if you get to their level or above their level, it'll be easier, and eventually you'll just be able to squish them real easy. And kind of having a system where we can have content for the entire spectrum of level ranges that exist right now. And kind of to go along with that, there's a bunch of other systems that we want to have in place as well, which are having durability turned on, having equipment repairing being turned on, having access to other equipment besides what you can get from the hunts. The goal with the hunt equipment is that will generally be much better than what you're going to be able to acquire from like just an equipment marketplace. But until we get crafting out, which is still quite a ways down the road, it'll be kind of your source of your general purpose gear. And once that's out, we're also going to be taking away what the Hunter's Guild gives you for doing void hunts. So once that is available, if you want to use that Squire equipment that you're using right now, you'd actually have to go and get your own copies of that equipment and equip it yourself to use that fight. So that would mean, if you then truly going into any of the hunts naked, you would be using level 1 gear, and level 1 gear is not, you're not going to win. Like no chance. Even if you have like the best hero ever, you're not going to win. So yeah, like that's just to get us to a more complete feeling of an RPG where there is equipment progression. We do need to also be concerned like with durability and having that be a part of the whole gameplay loop. Is just we work in this crypto world where we have NFTs that can be created. If we don't have a way to destroy them, some sort of obsolescence built in, it's just going to reach a point of saturation, and that's not fun for anybody. I think we need something that has a constant churn of equipment happening. And I think there's a question about that, so I'll not talk too much about that more right now. But just to say, so that's quite a few different systems that we need to get in place for it. But I guess that's something you can look forward to is like the next big jump forward in what will be a part of the game. And that also feeds into our traveling system as well. Once we get that out, which that's also going to be coming after. But that will give us the ability to have these various scrubs that you'll be fighting be location specific. And once we get to the crafting system, then that means those scrubs are dropping specific loot that you use for specific recipes and things like that. So, all of this is just to get us, closer and closer to having a full gameplay loop for you guys to enjoy. It's a lot of work to get there. We have a lot more to go, but at least this kind of gives you a good sense of where we are now, where we're going, and things you can look forward to. I think that's probably a pretty huge overview. A lot of alpha. If anyone else wants to add anything, feel free. But I think I'll step back for now.
I just want to say, Hubert, it's never been clear to me like how much the last 2.5 years has been intentional building toward like the ultimate, completion of the game. Every new feature that comes out recently, it's like, oh yeah, that's why we built this piece, this piece, and this piece. That's why we put those ERC20s as fish or whatever it is. It's just like, I'm just starting to get the vision of what's been in your head for a long time, I'm sure. And I'm sure we're all just starting to see like what this really is turning into. And I'm just super stoked about it, and really grateful that you're our game director, because man, you've had this in your brain for a long time. I'm glad to see it on the screen. It's awesome.
Here, here.
Love it, love it, love it. All right. On the dev side, I'm going to challenge Pinecone to follow that up.
Don't think I'll be able to. Hubert is great. Well, my little blurb today is about the API. As many of you know, we have two APIs in the game. One community API, which has a stable interface that we encourage the community devs to use. And we have a game, what we call the game API, which we discourage the community devs from using because the interface isn't stable. We are changing them as we see fit when we develop the game. And now in the short-term future, we need to make some breaking changes to the game API. But we know that some community devs are using it, and we don't want any sites to stop working because we break their apps. So we are giving a little heads up about this now. So in about 2 weeks, there will be some breaking changes to the game API and the hero query endpoint. If you're using any of the great community apps and you worry about whether this will break it, please reach out to the devs and check if they are aware of the changes. And the changes are described in the developer discussion channel on Discord. So that's where you find the solution if you want to adapt to the new way of, sending data, basically. Yeah, that's my little speech. Not as exciting as Hubert's.
Thank you, Pinecone. As he mentioned, if you are a community dev building something related to DFK, please make sure that you are in the developer discussion channel in our Discord. That's where all of these updates go. You can get that with a reaction role, but also just ask if you have any questions or trouble. But highly recommend that. It's very useful. All right. One last update that we're going to talk about, and then we'll go into some questions, is ETH Denver, which is, I think, actually technically going on now, but the core event will be next week. We do have a few people that are going to be there. I know Sunbear, KP, Frisky Fox, Professor Tango. I believe Workhorse is planning on going. I had originally said that I was not going. That might be changing. I haven't figured that out yet, but I might make an appearance. But check us out. Please come meet up with us. Friday night, KP put together a DFK meetup, so we can get the details on that. And then Saturday and Sunday, we will be in the ETH Denver arcade, running DeFi Kingdoms and doing demos and showing people how to get in, how to play. So if you're going to be at ETH Denver, please come find us and say hey. And if you have any interest in hanging out with us in the arcade area and potentially, educating some people on DeFi Kingdoms, you're more than welcome to come. We always appreciate the community support. KP, Sunbear, anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, definitely. I think that you hit the nail on the head, Bolon. But the cool thing is there's going to be 25,000 other people there that are going to be joining us as well. And, we already have over 400 people signed up for the DFK meetup on Friday evening, including a couple of special guests that are invited by Sunbear. And I think that'll be really fun. If you guys didn't get a chance to sign up for that, it is, it doesn't allow me to do anymore, but I wanted to let you know it's going to be at Honey Elixir, which is a couple of blocks away from the main convention venue there for ETH Denver. Come join us at the Honey Elixir, grab some drinks, get a chance to chat with all kinds of other people. Frisky Fox is going to be at the event as well. Sun Bear and Professor Tango and I are going to be sharing an Airbnb. I know Workhorse is going to be there. It's going to be so much fun, guys. I mean, these in-person conferences are the way to go. There's going to be tons of alpha dropped, not only by, us, the DFK team, but there's going to be so many other projects that are there. And Web3 is all about community, building friendships, building partnerships that are going to last for a long time. I wanted to give a huge shout out to Sun Bear. He's been working extremely hard behind the scenes to set up all kinds of really fun stuff that I'm sure will be announced at some point. But it's cool to get a chance to see all these great partners and get a chance to meet them in person. I met the guys from Arbitrum last year, ZK Sync, tons of really great projects that I'm sure that you guys all know. Just super excited about being there. And also too, Professor Tango is the one behind setting up the arcade for DFK. So we do get to demo for 12 hours straight on Saturday, which is going to be quite a time to, get people in front of DFK, get them seeing the void hunts, get them signed up and hopefully joining us in the DFK community. Going to be a lot of fun, guys. And I'm excited to see you there. If, for some reason I don't see you, feel free to shoot me a message in Discord or on Twitter, and, let's get together, grab some drinks and get a chance to meet up. The more fun that we all have together in these in-person events, the better. Back to you, Bolon.
I'll just add real quick. I didn't realize I'm going to get to meet Workhorse. I mean, come on. I'm stoked. I had no idea you were coming. So, yeah, excited to be there. You guys covered all the events and everything. And like KP said, we've got some fun things you're going to learn about and some really cool partners. There's stuff we can't talk about yet, but watch for the streams, watch for the announcements, come and meet some people. Really stoked about this next week.
Yes.
Hey guys, real quick. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but actually, I will not be at ETH Denver. I'm so
You
sorry.
have crushed all of the hearts.
I know.
My heart is broken.
Dude, come on. Here's one me.
You're now.
I know. Oh, man.
You're now required to change your plans.
I just didn't want to ruin the vibe, but you guys. I can't wait to see you guys at the next one, which is in Salt Lake, I believe, is the next time we're going to be partying though. So it's a rain check till then.
It sounds like you're obligated to come to Denver now to me, but I don't know. We'll work that out.
Well, Bolon, you have to come now just to, ease the pain.
Oh, I'm the backup. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, lots of good stuff. Very, very excited. And let's get into some questions for this week. All right. We are probably going to enter the Hubert hour for a little bit, which is everybody's favorite hour. And then we will see where we go from there. So, first up, we've talked about creator visages a little bit. Thoughts on having those influencers have their own NPC and potentially be repeatable?
Yeah, I feel like Dreamer would be able to answer this question better than myself, but we did spend a lot of time discussing how we wanted to do visages, like in terms of like having time periods where they're available and then not, or having them just be always available. And I think in all cases we felt that having a limited time availability was the best move, just because if you want one afterwards, it's still available. There's a market available for visages. So like if there was a specific one that you liked, it's there. And you could find it. Somebody I'm sure would be willing to part ways with it. But if that just kind of creates a market and it kind of set a sense of exclusivity. So I don't know that we are going to move away from that direction. I think we feel pretty good, and also personally, I'd prefer to just stick with our guns on this, just so we don't need to spend more time changing things with visages. Just because that's something where we wanted to get it to a state where we could just have it run and be able to just add new visages as needed, and then be able to focus on other things. So at least from my own perspective, I would not like to change it. But that's not to say that as a committee within our committees we might not decide that there'd be different ways to do things, but at least for right now that's the way I see it.
Awesome. And yeah, I'll just add real quick to that. I agree. one of the value propositions is always scarcity, and if they're repeatable or heavily repeatable at least, then it kind of changes that direction. But it's also something that the creators kind of have a voice in as well. So we'll see what happens. But I think we're probably going to stick with the current plan. All right, got another one for you, Hubert. Channeled spells. Are they impacted by the status effects active on a hero or enemy at the time the channel begins, or at the time that the channeled ability executes?
So that's a kind of an it depends. I think in there are cases where it does matter at the beginning. For example, like confuse. When you're confused, you're just not allowed to channel at all until you're not confused anymore. And while channeling, there's a lot of abilities that will stop you from channeling. It'll interrupt, like silence and fear and push pull. There's quite a large list. Daze, stun, and others. That confuse also does that too, where it'll prevent you from being able to do the channeling abilities. Then there's issue. Then there's like, I guess, kind of not really attached, but things like taunt, for example. With taunt, that forces you to target the taunter, but that doesn't affect if you're already channeling and you get taunted. It's not going to change that channeling ability. It'll just be after that point, the next turn you'll have to be targeting the taunter. So it does kind of depend, but hopefully that kind of explains the general way it works. And I guess I'll just mention that channeling as it is right now, that it is something we've kind of been discussing, and we kind of mentioned it maybe a week or two ago, that it's something that we're looking at making a few adjustments to. But I'll just leave it at that for now, because we haven't really hammered that all the way down yet. So yeah.
What about in terms of buff and debuffs? So say Mama Boar is channeling, or if Mama Boar has one turn left on the Rampage buff and she starts channeling Wild Charge, the buff will be gone by the time the ability goes off.
Right. Yeah. So if it's something that's like a turn-based buff, like the act of starting a channel counts as a turn. So if you had something that was this will also happen with the Prayer of Might that the priest can cast. If you cast that and then you do it on like the archer, and you start one of the archer's channeling abilities, you kind of just wasted the Prayer of Might. You'd want to actually cast it while they're channeling, so that when the channel goes off, it's in effect. So
buffs and debuffs look at the actual turn that it goes off.
Yeah, if it's there are also buffs and debuffs now that you're going to start seeing more of with the new hunt, that are tick based. So they don't necessarily care about how many turns you have. If you are going very fast, you may be able to get like an extra turn's worth of benefit out of it, where it's going to expire after, like, for example, 50 ticks into the future, which for fast heroes, that means about 5 turns. For slow heroes, that's probably more like 4 turns. If you get dazed or stunned in the middle of it, you might only get 3 turns out of it. If you get hasted, you might get 6 turns out of it. So like, we are going to be having more of those. And now that we have the time bar, it's easier to communicate that is a thing. So for those cases, if it's not a turn-based buff or debuff, it just depends on when that expires, and if your channel ability is going to go off before it expires or not.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. For the purpose of class ability calculations, what is the difference between, and this applies to all stats, but I'm going to use strength as the example, strength and strength.s?
Yeah, so this is getting into technical math stuff, but strength is strength. It's the number that you see on your hero's stats when you look at the back of their card. That's usually when we use it, where there's a multiplier applied to it, and it directly applies to your attack, or it applies to the effectiveness of like the damage of like other skills that will like give an additional multiplier from strength. So that's what strength does. It also is what we have as a requirement to be able to equip weapons. Every weapon has a strength requirement tied to it, and if you don't meet that requirement, you just can't equip the weapon at all. The strength S stands for strength score, and all, like, that's what the .s is a score, and that is kind of a like getting into the nuts and bolts of how that works is probably a bit much, but just the general idea there is that I wanted to have the ability to say at a given average level of the fight, say it's level 10, like what is considered very low strength and what is considered very high strength, and can we apply a score to that so that if we want to say like this ability has a chance to do something and it's a strength based ability, the stronger they are the better they are at like causing this status effect. It's not necessarily something that, like, if we just were to use strength, it's very hard to make that be scalable beyond a certain point, because stats scale a certain way, HP scales a different way. Like, we needed something that was more universal and could apply to all levels. So the formula that is used for the scores kind of understands every possible level range, and based on the strength you have at a specific level, or whatever the average level of the fight is, it's going to be, okay, your high strength, your low strength, and we'll kind of apply that to whatever the skill is asking for. And generally, we use it for like status effects, like trying to think of a good example. Like most of the status effects involve using one of the scores. I think like Warcry on the warrior has that. So like the stronger and more intimidating the warrior is, the better he is able to apply the debuffs on the enemy. So, and if there's like a really weak warrior, or say it's like a wizard warrior, then we have the subclass abilities in place. Wizard warrior's Warcry is probably going to be way worse than a warrior's Warcry, just because it's coming out of this spindly little stick of a creature, and it's not going to do so much. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. It's if you look at the formulas are available if you want to like dive into the math. If you look at like the Void Hunt discussion channel and look at the pinned messages, there is a link to a spreadsheet you can look at that has all of the formulas in there for how those are calculated. I feel good about it. I did the math for that to figure it all out, and that was really fun to do, and I'm very satisfied with that system.
And scrawny heroes are weak. Let's see.
Of course, were you about to say something?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to confirm the very controversial note there that Hubert is a big fan of math. Thank you.
Hubert, you do have some follow-up questions in the Discord AMA voice list for later. But for right now, will equipment eventually have weight?
Not really. I guess I don't know what that necessarily means. If we're talking about if we're talking about just like your battle budget, if that's what you were saying, if you can only use so many potions because you're wearing this heavy armor, we're not going to do something to that degree, I don't think. But I mean, every piece of equipment does have a requirement to be able to equip it. So if it's something more like that, like it's like heavier weapons generally require more strength to be able to equip them. And as levels increase, that requirement is increasing for like the newer gear that we're going to be releasing that's targeting higher levels. So there's a weight in that aspect, but nothing that I think would ever impact the amount of potions you're able to bring into a fight,
or the amount of equipment, because that's determined
right
separately, correct?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Thoughts on the ability to destroy or change different cosmetic pieces? In particular, in this question, was the back appendages.
Yeah, we've had some questions in the past like this too. Right now, I'm of a mind that in general, we have visages that allow you to kind of change your appearance, and not necessarily affect anything on the hero. Changing the appearance genes, just having those be less kind of defined through summoning, is something that I'm not a fan of doing. We may have special cases, or we do occasionally have special cases where we allow like the re-rolling of Gen Zeros and their visual genes, just because we introduce new ones, and we wanted those genes to be able to be more balanced among the ecosystem of heroes, at least going from that point forward. But yeah, I'm generally not that big of a fan of changing genes directly if there's not like a specific like reason, like we made a mistake or something for that. But things could always change in the future. But my general stance is, I don't see us going in that direction. I at least would not be in favor of going in that direction anyway. So
Awesome. One last question, and I'll give you a break for a minute. Maybe we'll see. Thoughts on if equipment will have cards similar to Heroes and Pets, or if it will be displayed more as it is today.
Yeah, I think I don't think we will change that. That if we did, it would be much further down the road when we have a lot more resources and can spend the time kind of building out something like that. I think the art that SBD is produced for the equipment is more than sufficient to convey what it is. And then with these with how it's displayed now, you can see everything that you should need to know about the piece of equipment to be able to gauge its usefulness to you. So if we were to put it on cards, we'd have to probably have the cards be flipped, like you'd flip them over and to be able to see the information, things like that. As cool as the cards are, I think there's some downsides to, always doing that with everything. I don't see that being anything, at least that we do anywhere in the near future.
Good deal. I will give you a break for a moment, as promised. There was a question submitted about essentially like the potential of hiring a specific person. I'm just gonna say that's not something that we're gonna talk about publicly. First and foremost, we aren't actively hiring anyone at the moment. But even outside of that, that's all personal and private, and we're going to respect everyone's privacy. And those aren't matters that we're going to talk about publicly. Aside from that, in general, like this is an ask me anything, but that doesn't mean that we're going to answer anything. Our goal is to be able to answer questions about the game and development and that kind of thing, and that's why we have these every week and look forward to them, and we'll continue to have them every week. But yeah, anyway, outside of that, I did want to ask real quick, Workhorse, are you going on Mythic Squad tonight?
Why, yes, Bolon. What a fantastic memory you have. I will be on Mythic Squad tonight, 5 o'clock Pacific time, 7 o'clock Central, and I will be talking about all sorts of baloney. Please tune in.
Looking forward to that. Yeah. To clarify, I do not have a great memory. They commented in the YouTube chat. so thank you, Mythic Squad, for
here. I was so impressed, Bolon. I was like, dang, dude's looking at my Twitter. This is amazing.
Now you know how I felt when you said you weren't coming to Denver, okay?
Okay, I deserve that. I deserve that.
All right. We have I'm gonna grab actually one last question, and then we have somebody that will be joining the AMA, one of our community members who is putting together an event that they're going to talk about. But prior to that, I have one last question. Hubert, Workhorse, anybody else that wants to chime in, of course. Thoughts on having a no retries hero burn fight versus cannibals, or the people related to those that run the pit?
Yeah, a cannibal fight would be pretty fun, I think. I think we do have thoughts towards having combat events where there are no retries and there is hero burn involved. I think it's going to be a little bit down the road before we start doing something like that, but this kind of ties somewhat into something I've been alluding to in the past with kind of a new hero burn mechanic, where I think an aspect of that allows us to more frequently have the risk of hero burn without it being too overwhelming for players. And so that's something that, I think may start to be more common than you think, not just cannibals, but, it could be that even void hunts run that risk. But there's still a lot that we need to decide and make sure it feels good and it's not too punishing. in the process. And I think we could also, I think there are definitely avenues for allowing hero burn to happen through combat failure, but we'll have more to say when we get a little closer to that being close, reality. So.
My 2 cents is that would be a lot of fun. I was a huge Perilous Journey fan. I enjoyed losing so many heroes in the madness, but I think that's something that we will definitely consider in the future. 100% going to happen. That's something that we definitely can't state as Hubert pointed it out, but it's definitely a cool idea that we all will talk about.
For sure. All right. Joining us on the stage right now is Emerson. And Emerson is planning on doing a duels tournament, but with a twist. Emerson, I hope you can hear us. But you want to tell us about what you got planned?
Aloha, Bolin. Can you hear me, everyone?
Yes, sir. You sound good.
All right. Aloha, everyone. So happy to be here. I have listened to every AMA from the very beginning, haven't missed one. So this is like a big dream of mine to be up here with you guys. And we're putting on the Pink Slip Duels. Very excited to do that. High stakes tournament. The Jewelers and DeFi Kingdoms, of course, are sponsoring it. And Sticks Intern, the Mythic Squad, a lot of people have had their hands helping out in this, and just really excited to bring this for the community.
Yeah. So what mode of duels are you going to be using?
It's going to be 3 versus 3. The heroes need to be between level 5 and 10. And after each round, the loser will send his heroes to the winner, and the winner will decide how he wants to dark summon those together and then take the resulting heroes into the next round. And the final round, after the final round, the winner will keep the 6 resulting heroes, which we're starting with rares. They need to be rare or above. So really hoping to see some mythics come out of this by the end. We might even end up burning some mythics along the way. We'll have to see.
So 3v3, the 2 teams will go in, so 6 heroes total. The loser will send their heroes to the winner, and then the winner will dark summon all 6 of them to create a new 3 heroes, which will be their team in the next round, correct?
Exactly. Yes.
That is awesome.
Yeah, really exciting.
And then
16 players. There's going to be 16 players this time. We want to, the first one, we could do it again if there's a lot of people interested. This is something we can do again. And I mean, I'd even like it someday to maybe see it in the game, in DeFi Kingdoms. 2 players could go in and match 3 heroes together, and not a tournament style, but just a duel. And at the end, the other person gets the heroes and gets to dark summon them. And, something like that would be great to see in the game, I think, eventually, someday. But this is a preview, and I hope everyone enjoys it. I'm just a big fan of DFK, and I just wanted to do this to create excitement and engagement, and hopefully bring some new eyes to the project.
No, that is super fun, and I'm really excited for it. I think it'll be a lot of fun to watch and to participate in. So, if you're a good dueler and you're willing to take a little risk on some heroes, this is the tournament for you for sure. Where can people go to find out everything, and where do they need to follow and sign up and everything?
They can go to Twitter and my account, Emerson, and then can also follow the Jewelers. They're sponsoring, and if you go to their accounts, Dags and Mega, or the Jewelers Guild, they can help you get signed up. Also, if you don't want to use Google sign up sheets, you can contact one of us, and we'll be happy to help you get in there. And before all the spots fill up, I'm getting a lot of responses, so I think it's going to be popular. I'm really hoping the guilds will see this as an opportunity to create a little competition, a little friendly competition between the guilds, and maybe all the guilds can send a representative over, and we'll see who comes out the victor in the end.
Yeah, I have to imagine Mythic Squad's going to get in on this.
Oh yeah, they've been so helpful, especially Sticks intern, amazing guy, KP, and you Bolin have been so supportive from the DeFi Kingdoms side, and just amazing how much the community gets together and helps. And I just appreciate everyone so much, and I love DeFi Kingdom. So let's do this. Let's have some fun, guys.
Yeah. Quick question from the chat. As far as when they go to do the dark summons, and then obviously they'll be able to level that hero up. Are they allowed to use stones, extra tiers, crystals? Can they do whatever they want, or are there restrictions?
No, there's they can do whatever they want. I'm really excited to see all the strategies. I really think the way this is set up, it allows for so many different strategies, and that's one thing I'm really excited about, is to see what everyone brings and how they approach it. Just to make an announcement for, there's going to be a bunch of prizes. We're going to do a raffle. I'm gonna donate a sage and a dragoon, and we'll raffle that, and then we'll dark summon them, and hopefully whoever wins that will get a dread knight in the end of that. Also, I'm also donating 1,200 Shavas runes, and so that way everyone will have all the runes they need, all the Shavas runes to do their level up, so they won't have to worry about that. And then crystals will be, on them. If they want to use crystals, then go right ahead.
Fantastic. Well, stay right there, because we're going to have you do our bullish here in just a minute when we wrap up. From everybody here on the stage, anything you want to add? Any last comments? Anything you want to hit on before we end for the day?
I'll just say that tournament sounds really cool. I'll hopefully be able to at least tune into some of that and see what happens. It seems like it's going to be pretty chaotic, but I really like that concept of the hero burning aspect, and how everyone's team is going to be forced to change as they get through it. So yeah, great idea, and looking forward to seeing that come happening.
Seconded. That's an awesome format. Great job.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm just really excited. We're going to be streaming it. Mythic Squad has agreed to stream the duels along with the jewelers, Sticks interns involved. I'm going to be on the Mythic stream next Friday, Mythic Squad stream. And I'm going to be doing some stuff with the jewelers, and Sarge has asked me, so everyone's going to get to meet me, and we're going to, we're going to talk about everything, and me and Dags are going to do a sample video for you guys. So there's all kinds of stuff coming, guys. Just keep your eyes out, follow our accounts, and you guys will get all the information you need.
Fantastic. All right, last call from anybody? All right, Emerson, if you have any last comments, feel free, and give us a good bullish.
No, I just want to say thank you again to everyone. Aloha, mahalo. This is for the kingdom. Bullish.
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 Thank you all, and we will see you next week.